Alright YouTube, it's me King Nazru with the review of Rosario Vampire Chapter 9 and 10. Now, these chapters are intertwined with one another, and a lot of things have happened, so I'm naturally going to have to refer to my notes here just to keep my thoughts together. And due to these chapters being connected, this is obviously going to be a two-part video. So, when we left with Chapter 8, Hitomi Ishigami had revealed to Kuyo that Tsukune Aono is in fact a human. And Kuyo is shocked and skeptical about this because there's no way a human could have possibly have known about the school, let alone attended the school, because of the magical barrier that prevents them from finding out about the school, at least by conventional means. And the fact that if a human were to be at the school, they would have been found out by now and would have been killed as the rules dictate. However, Hitomi Ishigami says that Kuyo should not be so hasty to throw this opportunity away because if Tsukune is in fact human, not only will he be serving justice by killing a human being, but it'll also give him a legal reason to destroy the newspaper club instead of just doing it because they defied him, which he couldn't do before. So meanwhile, Gen is berating the club, specifically Kurumu, Tsukune, and Moka, for attacking Kato, which is pretty much a declaration of war to the Safety Commission, aka the SC. And he continues to remind them that the SC is not someone to be trifled with because they're practically like a Yakuza or a Japanese mafia and a corrupted police force, and they're filled with completely powerful monsters. Uh, and while this is going on, Yukari says that she's going to heal Tsukune's wound by using her magical herbs. Excuse me. Uh, and when she does, she notices that Tsukune is healing a little bit slow, which is kind of odd for a monster. But but this also leads to the other girls wanting to pay attention to Tsukune and take care of him, which unfortunately leads Gen to be jealous and decides to turn Tsukune into the SC so that hopefully they'll send to him as a peace offering and leave them alone. However, Kuyo has arrived and said that it's far too late for that, and says that he's here to arrest Moka Akashiya for uh, assaulting Kato, which was also considered an assault to the SC. Tsukune tries to explain that uh, it's not her fault and Kato forced him to do this. However, this provokes Kuyo into announcing that Tsukune is also under arrest under suspicion of being human. Much to everyone's shock, Kurumu was the first one to announce her disbelief of this because of the same reasons why Kuyo didn't believe that Tsukune could possibly be human, and even goes so far as to say that she'll uh, take on Kuyo just to prevent them from doing anything to Tsukune. But she's suddenly petrified by Kuyo's immense monster power, and she can sense that, like Gen said, Kuyo is not someone to be messed with. So Kuyo takes Moka and Tsukune to their headquarters where they're going to be interrogated. So, uh, back at the club, Gen and Kurumu argue about what should happen, and Gen saying that they shouldn't get involved. If they lie low, any that maybe the SC will ignore them and just focus on Tsukune and Mocha. While Kurumu says that's a cowardly thing to do, and says that they should go save Mocha and Tsukune. And while they are bickering, Yukari notes uh, that maybe Kuyo is right that Tsukune is a human being because, as she noted, Tsukune heals a lot slower than monsters do when she applied her herbs. So, Gen says that it's regardless, it's too dangerous uh, to go after these guys, and continues to explain what the repercussions could be. But Kurumu and Yukari just ignore him and walk off. And back at the headquarters of the SC, we see various monsters that the SC arrested, proclaiming that they're innocent and that the SC treat them very harshly, though whether they're innocent or not is pretty much under speculation. And one of them decides to attack Kuyo and is uh, pretty much unsuccessful because Kuyo is easily able to deal with this person by shooting fire at them. So we can tell that whatever monster Kuyo is, it's definitely fire based. And then he turns his attentions towards Tsukune and tells him to reveal his monster form. And he tries to persuade Tsukune to do it because this won't count as being breaking the rules, and this will actually clear his charges of being human. And when Tsukune doesn't do this, he continues to pummel Tsukune and uh, just shouts that he needs to reveal that he's human, otherwise he's going to get killed. However, he stops because he is reminded by Hitomi Ishigami that they made a deal that Tsukune would be killed by her, and Tsukune recognizes that Hitomi Ishigami is there, and she must have been the informant that told Kuyo that Tsukune was human. And Hitomi Ishigami, shouts that she's going to make both Mocha and Tsukune pay for what they did to her, and make them suffer a very slow and painful death. And outside, Kurumu and Yukari are trying to figure out what they're going to do, and Gen says that they obviously aren't going to do very well against the SC since they don't even have a plan to deal with these kind of monsters. And Kurumu just calls Gen a coward because he's not actually doing anything and would rather save himself and not get involved. And Gen retorts that if Kurumu is so noble, is she willing to protect Tsukune despite him being human? And Kurumu, without a second of hesitation, says that yes, I will protect Tsukune. And this really shows why I like Kurumu because it really shows that her dedication to her friends and loved ones has become really strong ever since she's met the gang. And she's even putting aside prejudice towards humans, even though in her first introduction she just thought of men, possibly even humans, as nothing more than slaves. So Kuyo thinks that Tsukune is in fact a human because otherwise he would have transformed by now, and decides uh, that Tsukune should be killed. Meanwhile, Hitomi Ishigami is torturing Tsukune and telling him how she found out that he was human because when they last met, while she was in her Gorgon form, she bit his flesh and she was able to recognize that this was human flesh, and she mistakenly uh, figured that he wasn't a monster. So she prepares to kill Tsukune by turning him to stone with her snake venom. But Kuyo says that he's going to change the deal because he feels that by law Tsukune should be publicly executed and should serve as an example to any humans that would dare try to enter this academy and possibly do them harm. Uh, this causes both the two villains to bicker with one another, but Kuyo honestly ends the argument by shooting fire at her, which she barely avoids, and uh, uh, starts to collide with Tsukune. And he's only saved because Mocha was able to get him out of there, but just barely because he still had burnt marks. And Mocha tells him that he needs to remove the rosary as quickly as possible, and says that um, no matter if you are revealed to be a human, if the school turns against them, she's still going to protect him. Which also shows how dedicated Mocha is to her friends. uh, and with Tsukune is clearly shown to be uh, very, very badly injured and struggling to keep his consciousness. And with his last remaining strength, tries to remove the rosary, but he can't, and he just misses it by about a good distance away. So, uh, Kuyo notes that since Mocha has stated that she's going to protect Tsukune regardless of him being human, he has no choice but to kill her as well, since Tsukune is a threat to the Academy, because he could possibly uh, be a spy and expose their monster's existence to the outside world. Akuyo tries to attack Mocha, but is stopped by vines that suddenly pop out from the floor. And it turns out these vines are actually a product of Kurumu's illusion and spells. And Kurumu says that Mocha wouldn't obviously be able to protect Tsukune just by herself, and says that she's going to take on Kuyo as well. And while Yukari takes the time to heal Tsukune. But Kuyo quickly figures out that this was that the vines are simply an illusion, and is very irritated by this, and even resorts to trying to kill them all at once. But fortunately, Gin arrives and says that, you know what? Since all of you guys are going to, through so much effort to protect Tsukune, and uh, doing all this while knowing that he's in fact human, this really inspired me to stand up to Kuyo, and I'm not going to let him hurt any of my friends. And this actually shows a bit of character development for Gen, because he's pretty much throughout the chapters have been pretty much out for himself, uh, trying to stay out of trouble, and just fulfill his sexual desires. And Gin transforms into his werewolf form and seems to get an edge on Kuyo because of the werewolf's natural ability of super speed, which everybody starts to think that Gin is actually winning. However, Kuyo shrugs this off and decides to reveal his monster form, which is a Yoko, and which is a Japanese spirit fox. And while Hitomi Ishigami is watching this, she remarks uh, how impressive that the newspaper club is able to stand toe to toe with the SC's leader. But she can also sense how powerful Kuyo is and decides to put her pride away and says that she'll let him punish them for what they've done to her. And Gin is practically mortified by how powerful Kuyo's monster form is because uh, the Yoko is so powerful that it's practically considered a god. So they've clearly never faced anyone like Kuyo. And hold on. Kuyo tries to remind them that by law he is obligated to kill Tsukune because he could possibly inform the human world that monsters in fact exist and potentially start a war between monsters and humans. And he calls the entire club traitors just for simply protecting him and says that they must be executed as well. This leads Tsukune to feeling responsible for uh, this whole entire dilemma, and he feels that if he never attended Yokai Academy, maybe none of this would have ever happened. However, everyone says they uh, that they don't care about the consequences, that they're going to stand by him because they're all friends now. Even Gin saying that he doesn't care about Tsukune being human, uh, which further infuriates Kuyo because uh, not only are they accepting him as a human being and considering them one of their own, but they're actually going out of their way to defy him just for the sake of that. Which leads Kuyo to doing his signature technique, the hazy rolling flame. And yes, I know that's a really, really stupid name for an attack, but it looks far more devastating than it actually does because it has a wide range. It's a very circular motion to the flames, and it's able to take out multiple opponents, uh, which at first it doesn't do because Gin is able to shield the entire class from, I mean, not the entire class, the entire club from the attack. Uh, but it causes him to lose consciousness. And Kuyo refutes that uh, Gin has clearly become soft by uh, spending time with a human and growing attached to him. And even berating that the werewolf is not as impressive as the legends say. And this also leads to Hitomi Ishigami saying that she's impressed that monsters as powerful as Kuyo could possibly be at this school, and leads her to thinking maybe there are other monsters as powerful, if not more powerful, as well. Which means she's got clearly got something planned in case this plan fails. So Kuyo manages to take out everybody out with a single blast uh, by transforming into his hybrid form, which he calls his battle form. And this came as a very shocking news to both Yukari and Kurumu specifically because they thought he was going to turn back into a human, but it didn't turn out to be the case since his power was in fact increasing. So, with everybody being unable to defend themselves, Tsukune begs Kuyo to spare their lives, and he'll accept any punishment that Kuyo deems fit, even if it's the death penalty. Uh, Kuyo at first says that he did not expect a human to be so noble, and that he'll actually fulfill his wish and spare everyone. Uh, but it turns out to actually be a lie, and he says that humans and monsters being friends is very superficial. And uh, he says that since that you're since I despise you so much and what you stand for, I'm going to make you suffer by watching everybody being killed, and then you'll be the last person to die. And he starts off with Mocha, uh, but before the blast can collide with Mocha, she is protected by Tsukune, and this blast did a really large amount of damage. And Hitomi Ishigami is shocked by the fact that Tsukune would go out of his way to defend uh, Mocha, uh, even uh, even knowing that he couldn't have, it was impossible that that it would pass his notice that he would not be able to survive an attack like that because it's, just doing that alone has burnt half of his skin off. So, so Tsukune barely manages to take off the rosary, and uh, this allows Mocha to turn into inner Mocha, and she begs Tsukune for his forgiveness as she bites into Tsukune. This leads Kurumu to believe that Mocha is trying to suck his blood, but Mocha refutes that she's not sucking his blood, but actually injecting her own blood into Tsukune, which Yukari says could actually be a good thing because vampires not only being known for their immense strength, but also their uh, very powerful and very potent healing abilities, which is part of the reason why they're considered immortal. However, Mocha notes that uh, this is not actually, it's not as good as they'd like to believe because there are at least three problems with this situation. With blood transference. The first problem is that there's a low percent chance that Tsukune could possibly become a vampire, especially with his possibly, especially with his body being on the verge of death. So more likely than not, he'll probably end up dead. Uh, and while she's fighting Kuyo, uh, unlike all her other opponents where she needed us to just do one simple kick to beat them, it's taking multiple hits just for her to do any signs of damage to him, and she has to use a really powerful kick just to knock him back. Uh, and Yukari thinks that she's actually just as strong as ever. But however, Kurumu knows that she knows how strong Mocha is because she fought Mocha, and she knows that she's nowhere near as strong as she was when they fought. And Mocha notes that this is the second problem with blood transference, that uh, when a vampire transfers their blood to their intended host, that the transference weakens them, and all of their abilities become lessened. And Kuyo remarks that just much like Gin, that and his poor display of werewolf abilities, vampire abilities must not be impressive as well. And he also knows that up until now he never even believed that vampires existed because a monster that powerful couldn't possibly exist. And now he doesn't even think they're impressive anymore because of that pathetic show of strength. And he continues to pummel Mocha uh, with severe blows, and says that this is all happening because Mocha has grown too docile by being around Tsukune and actually forming a bond with him. And before he can finish off Mocha, Tsukune surprisingly gets up and is completely healed. And this uh, baffles Kuyo because there's no possible way a human could have survived an onslaught like that, and he wonders if is Tsukune even human anymore. And Kuyo says, "You know what? I don't even care if you are human or not. I'm still going to kill you." But before he can even launch an attack at Tsukune, much like Mocha with her kicks, defeats Kuyo with a single punch. So uh, then Mocha notes the third problem with the transference of vampiric blood is that even if the other two things go out without a hitch, the the transformation won't guarantee that it'll be a vampire. Tsukune could actually become something far worse. And she doesn't go into detail about this, so this will probably be expanded upon in the later chapters. And uh, Tsukune suddenly passes out after launching his attack against Kuyo, and Kurumu wonders uh, if Tsukune's all right. But Mocha mentions that he simply used up used all the blood that he gained from her, and that he's not in fact a vampire. And Hitomi Ishigami, once again surveying this, uh, she humbly concedes that this is a defeat on her part, and says that she'll have something planned for the newspaper club next time. Now, this is a really, really good chapter. Uh, the stakes are very high because um, the dilemma with Tsukune alone not only guarantees his death, but also the death of everyone that was involved with him. Uh, it also showed how, despite the expected prejudice towards monsters and humans, that the newspaper club has become so close that they're willing to look past that and just continue to be friends and are willing to put their very lives to protect this human. And it also showed that Gin, when he sets his mind to it, can actually be noble and not just a typical pervert that just uses good intentions as a means to an end. And we finally finally get to see Tsukune fight instead of actually relying on Mocha or the other girls to defend him. So I'm suspecting that this is also going to be explored more, and Tsukune is actually going to be more proactive in fights. So next time we talk about chapter 11 and see just how deep the third problem is